How's it going, everyone? It is me, Stateside, here with another video. We need to talk about Arsenal. Are they built to keep up with Manchester City or not? My answer, not yet. We'll go ahead and we'll get right into why I think not yet. Arsenal, currently at the time of recording, they have 27 out of possible 30 points. They're 4 points ahead of Manchester City and North London rival Tottenham. However, Arsenal are ill prepared to keep this momentum going into the World Cup and out of the World Cup. It's squad depth is going to be an issue. I know, say what you want about every team's got to deal with the World Cup, yada yada. I'm not saying the World Cup's going to be the problem. I'm saying that the problem is the current squad isn't deep enough, full stop. Just a few of the needs that the team needs. Somebody to back up Xhaka, somebody to back up Thomas Partey, somebody to back up Saka and Martinelli. Yes, Jesus can drop down into that winger position, but then we have to play Nketiah up top, who's just not as good. Emil Smith Rowe, obviously coming back from injury, will help with that problem, but Emil Smith Rowe is more comfortable in a central position. Same with Fabio Vieira, can play on the wing, but he's more comfortable in that central position. Uh, Obviously, taking a look at those needs, we have three main needs: DM, box to box, and winger. We're going to start off with the winger position because that's a position that's been, obviously more exciting, I guess, more glamorous, if you will. Starting off with winger, Reece Nelson and Marquinhos are the backups. Not good enough. Reece Nelson, we've seen twice now, I think. Not good enough. Marquinhos, his debut, a dream debut for him. However, he has just not been able to keep up that form. Obviously, he was never gonna be able to keep up that form. Let's not try to pretend that he's not good or anything like that. He's shown his potential. He just needs to find the rhythm. He needs to find the pace of play. Get used to those things. Kind of keep working his way in. Possibly a loan for him in the future. Loan him out in the future. But let's look at options. First of all, being Pedro Neto, from Wolverhampton Wanderers, obviously Wolves. Then you have Cody Gakpo, from PSV, and then lastly you have Mykhailo Mudryk. I'm gonna hope I said that right. Everton obviously had a bid of 30 million rejected for the Ukrainian in the summer. The Rising Stars increased his stock just exponentially. I'm sorry if you hear my cat meowing. I'm gonna reach down and pet him. Every time I start recording, he starts trying to get my attention. But he's currently got 1 goal and 5 assists in 5 appearances in the Ukrainian top flight. If Mudryk were to join Arsenal this January, it would be for the price range, I think, of about 50 million. So keep that little tally if you're keeping calculations, keeping numbers in your head. Keep that in mind. Taking a look at Gakpo, obviously excellent player. I just think he's going to be in the range of 60 to 70 million. I think that's just a little bit out of Arsenal's price range. I think he's a quality player. I think whatever club gets him is going to be just thrilled with his output. Of course, he's obviously linked with Manchester United. I don't see that happening because he's not a true striker the way that Manchester United need a striker right now. But who knows? Erik ten Hag may try to transform him into a striker. But again, they just spent 100 million on Anthony. Are they going to try to spend 70 million on this striker, this winger, and convert him to a striker? Taking a look at Pedro Neto, who hasn't had a goal involvement all season, I just don't see him. He's going to be about that 50 million euro range as well. I just don't see it being worth it for Arsenal. A player that has struggled so far this season. If they want to win now, this season, they need to get Mykhailo Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk. Moving along to midfield depth, Arsenal's midfield options. There are 2 players that need to come in the door and 1 out. The player going out the door has to be Sambi Lokanga. We're going to keep Elneny for the time being, just because his experience in the Arsenal side. He's kind of a leader, whether he's healthy, injured, playing, not playing. Just his experience and his time in the Premier League will be something that's very important to the team going for a title push. During the summer, Lokanga was linked to a move to San Siro to play with AC Milan. That would have been a season-long loan had it not been for Arsenal's inability to get a midfielder during the season, obviously, or during the summer window, excuse me. It is likely we'll need 1 or 2 arrivals in January in the midfield for Lokanga to leave, and he will receive valuable game time, whether it be Ligue 1, whether it be Serie A, whatever it is. he needs the 8-game time, and I'm hoping wherever he goes, they play him. Because I think if he went to AC Milan, he's probably not getting much game time if he had gone there, especially in that DM position where you already have Ben Nasser, you have Tonali, you have a bunch of quality players already in that DM position. Obviously, they just lost Kessier, but I don't see him getting a starting role in Milan squad at the moment. Moving to our players in, Douglas Luiz has obviously taken himself out of the potential transfer targets for the Gunners after signing a brand new deal with Aston Villa this past, I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken. There are, however, still 3 possible targets that Arsenal need to take a look at this January. Players that they have previously been linked with before, 2 of them during the summer, and 1 of them during the during these last few months. And actually, they were also linked with him in 2021 as well. Beginning off with Tielemans of Leicester City. Tielemans has registered just a goal and an assist. However, he only has 6 months on his contract. Tielemans will be cheap. He's going to cost them maybe 10 million euros. So if we're keeping our numbers up, 60 million. Tielemans will play perfect in that Xhaka role. He'll give a little bit more presence on the ball, give a little bit more composure on the ball, where Xhaka, he's good to get up forward. He's good to come back. He's going to give you a lot of energy in that midfield, but he doesn't bring that presence, that control, if you will, that a player like Youri Tielemans would do for that Arsenal midfield. Obviously, you also have Partey. You would have him playing in that box-to-box role next to Partey, and then you would have Odegaard. Obviously, Odegaard's also a calming presence as well, but Odegaard's so much further up the field than Tielemans or Xhaka is, and that's why I would want Tielemans to play in that role and kind of stabilize that midfield just slightly. Not that we've had problems getting overrun in the midfield this season, but if that were to ever be the case, you had situations where Xhaka may have, panicking, and kind of left Lokonga out in that Manchester United game, ended up costing us points where Lokonga was, makes a mistake or two. Not a big deal, but obviously an upgrade's an upgrade, and even if Xhaka is playing in form, it at least gives him a break that he hasn't had so far. Moving along to the other 2 targets, and both of these would be backups to Thomas Partey. First one being Locatelli. He is on the chopping block for Juventus manager Max Allegri as he looks to revolutionize their squad. Arsenal had previously made an attempt to sign the Italian international in 2021 before he signed with the old lady. Didn't work out before. I think this one might have a little yellow caution tape around it. I think if he's getting kicked out of that Juventus midfield right now, a midfield led by Adrien Rabiot right now, I don't think that it's the player that Arsenal need in that midfield. I don't know if he's got the presence, the ability to play to that level of Thomas Partey. Other player, Danilo, I really don't know much about. He's made 52 appearances for Palmeiras in all competitions, tallying 7 goals and 4 assists in the process. He has yet to make a cat-first country. He wants to come to the European top 5 leagues in Europe. He's going to cost about 35 million euros. He wants to establish himself in the Brazil setup. He wants to replace Casemiro. He wants to back up Fabinho for a few years and then eventually take the reins and be that DM, be that controlling player in the midfield of Brazil, one of the most, world-class national teams in the world and World Cup favorite, and he wants to be able to establish himself in that midfield. That will also be 35 million euros, which brings our total to about, I believe, 95 million euros. Yeah, 95 million euros. So, of the options, for the winger, it has to be Mudryk. Has to be. At this moment, as I said, Neto yet to get himself a goal involvement so far for Wolves in the Premier League this season. Mudryk, obviously being the man in form, hopefully, he doesn't. Hopefully, one of those things where we're able to get him in. Obviously, it kind of sucks that we're not able to get him in December, where we're going to have all our players in Dubai training together, re-implementing the system that Arteta has been able to implement in the preseason, be able to remind everyone, if you will, of type of system they're going to play. Obviously, these last few games, 3 or 4 games, haven't been the prettiest from Arsenal, but they've won those games. And that's the biggest thing for them, is to go back to playing their brand and winning games, or just play their brand, or even just win games. Because I'll take that too. It's not pretty these last few games. The game against Leeds was not pretty, but obviously, you gotta do what you gotta do to win. Mudryk, Tielemans, Danilo, all three of those should be pursued in January. Realistically, if Arsenal want to take the chance to win the Premier League this season, that is 95 million euros combined fee. If my numbers are correct, obviously those numbers may not be right. Those numbers may be high, they may be low. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a specialist when it comes to transfer strategy or anything of that sort. I'm giving my input on the players I think need to go. I think Lokonga needs to go on loan. I think Marquinhos could use a loan with Smith Rowe coming back healthy. That gives you Fabio Vieira in the cam position with Odegaard. That gives you Emil Smith Rowe and Mudryk as backups. That gives you Nketiah Jesus. That gives you in our back or pivot midfield, whatever you want to call it, box to box DM, Danilo, Partey, Xhaka, Tielemans. You've got Tommy, Tierney, Zinchenko, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Ramsdale, Turner. Just a very good, well-rounded squad. Not world class everywhere. That's not a terrible thing. That's not world class anywhere. But you have players that can do the job. You have players that can. If we have one injury, it's not going to end the team. It's not going to be a Thomas Partey injury that completely destroys the midfield where Xhaka's playing DM and then he gets sent off because he's not a DM. He's playing DM but not a DM. But I could see Arsenal making these three changes and definitely going for a title charge against Manchester City this year. Obviously, both teams play each other once in January. I'm not quite sure about the second time. I want to say the second time is March or April. But obviously, two big games there. If they can get players in before that, or at least by the March game, have those players in and implemented to where if there is an injury, Arsenal aren't screwed, panicking because they don't have anybody to play that position or they don't have a player of the quality needed to play that position. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you agree, disagree, let me know if you think we should go after Neto, if you think we should go after Gakpo, if you think Locatelli's the answer. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, hit that like button. It really helps a ton. Hit that subscribe button again so you never miss another video of Arsenal, Premier League, Europa League, Champions League, MLS, whatever content I put out. You never miss another beat. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace.